Hello, and welcome to the Cycle Starters podcast. I'm your host, Heather Rebecca Wilson. Today, I am thrilled to bring you a conversation that dives deep into the power of speaking the unspeakable and transforming rage into revolutionary change. My guest today is Sonali Fiske, a decolonial storyteller, TEDx speaker, and cultural curator who has dedicated her life to helping women and femmes of color disrupt empire with their truth. Born in Sri Lanka and raised across continents, Sonali weaves ancestral intelligence, sacred rage, and political voice into every space she enters. In this episode, we'll explore how to speak from what Sonali calls the fire we carry, harnessing female rage as a force that fuels meaningful change in these turbulent times. We'll discuss her journey of ancestral healing, the patterns she's breaking, and her current work curating Roots and Reclaim, an indigenous Sri Lankan land-based healing body oil line that helps people reconnect with their bodies, heritage, and the earth. Whether she's mentoring Black and Brown women, building revolutionary narratives, or calling forth fire keepers and truth tellers, Sonali's work is about burning down old stories and rising as architects of new worlds. I can't wait for you to hear her wisdom. So before we dive into our conversation, I do have a favor to ask. If you are enjoying the content that we are creating here on the Cycle Starters podcast, please like, subscribe, and share with your networks. It really helps the algorithm get our content in front of more viewers. So I really appreciate that. Thank you in advance. And without further ado, let's dive into our conversation with Sonali. Hello, sis.
Hello. Thank you for that lovely welcome and been looking forward to this chat with you.
Yeah, me too. I've been wanting to interview you for a long time since I started the podcast in the fall of 2024. And it's been a long time since we've seen each other in person. We were just chatting about
Yes.
that.
I know. Anything pre-COVID feels so like a whole nother lifetime or another, a whole nother life. So yeah, so much life has passed between us and our world has changed so dramatically since. So it's a
I
joy to
know.
see you, love.
Oh, it's a joy to see you. And I just want to say right off the bat that I consider you to be a friend and also a mentor. And I loved being in your program that you had going in 2018, 2019. I think it really helped me clarify my message, right, of what
Mhm.
what I wanted to share with the world. And, obviously that has evolved somewhat, but I definitely give you a lot of credit in supporting me and just holding the space for me to raise my own voice. So thank you for everything that you do.
What a joy. You made my whole day because we don't always get to hear, the feedback. So I appreciate you. That was Revolutionaries Take the Mic. That was my flagship course that I
Mhm.
just closed out after 13 cohorts. What a privilege I have had to mentor and coach over 250 Black and Indigenous women of color. It's a sacred, sacred responsibility that I've enjoyed so much, Heather. So I'm just excited about what's coming next?
Yeah. Well, congrats on wrapping that up. 13 cohorts is a lot of space holding, a lot of
Yeah.
mentoring, a lot of guiding,
Yes,
and
yes.
absolutely a sacred responsibility. Well, oh my goodness. Well, let's start with your ancestral background. What can
Sure.
you tell us about your ancestry?
So interesting and so much to say, right? I was born in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is this beautiful, resplendent island on the equator directly south of India. We're a small, tiny, teeny island, but very heavily visited and touristed. But my ancestry is honestly, Heather, like a tapestry of resilience and displacement and survival, although that's my ancestral origin story. I had to turn my back on my ancestry in order to assimilate into this system and this culture here in the United States. I now reside on Achaman land, the unceded land of the Achaman people in Orange County, California. From that perspective, from the Achaman lineage and my own lineage, the similarity there is that we carry wisdom in our bones, even when the world has tried to erase our stories. My ancestry is not just about my people or where they came from geographically speaking. It's also about the traditions they've tried so hard to hold on to and not get erased because of colonialism and colonial erasure, right? The songs they've whispered when silence was forced onto them, and the seeds that they have often planted so that I could exist today. It's this reclamation now I'm in. That's why it's filled with so much fire, because uh, I want to honor them by refusing to assimilate any longer into these narratives that have erased them and erased so many of our people. And also by remembering myself back into their medicine, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So, I'm curious, when did the concept of ancestral healing enter your consciousness insofar
Mhm.
as when did you realize that patterns could be passed down from generation to
Yeah.
generation, but also I have the power to shift these patterns. I can start new cycles. So, how did that all come together for you?
Yeah. With a lot of my creative energy, a lot of it has started from a place of rage, Heather, from a place of sacred rage, of becoming more and more conscientious about how much of my history, how much of my ancestry has been stripped away, and how much I have allowed it to be stripped away by colonial forethought, by white supremacy. How much of who I am, um, or how much I have clung to white supremacist tactics as a form of survival. And I wonder why, as South Asian people, why is it that we weren't inherently or intuitively led to cling or to assimilate more into Black culture and uh, Black communities in the United States, and why we were inclined to cling to white supremacy instead? And I'm not talking about appropriating. That's not what I'm talking about. We've turned our back on Blackness and Black communities in this country as a form of survival. That has made me so angry, Heather, for a long ass time.
Mhm.
By the way, am I allowed to swear on this podcast
Yes,
or
you
no?
are.
Bueno. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, so you can see that, some of my swearing comes from that place of anger, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because ancestral healing entered through this portal of rage
Mhm.
when I started recognizing these patterns that I was struggling with,
Yeah.
whether in relationships, in individual relationships or communal relationships, how I'm showing up online or my cultural identity and belonging. They weren't just mine. They were inherited and forced by colonial forethought and the systems that require our obedience, and our acceptance. But it was the moment, Heather, that I saw that my pain was not just an isolated, individualistic thing, that my wounds were so much more than what was happening in here, and how much of it was also a generational echo, you
Yeah.
know? And with that recognition came this invitation. If trauma can be passed down, well, then guess what, baby girl? So too can healing,
Yes.
And that was where my freedom lies. What
Mm,
are the healing modalities and traditions and indigenous healing ways of my people and reclaiming that?
beautiful. Thank you for sharing all of that. I can relate to the anti-blackness piece because you know that I have ancestors from the Visayan Islands and what is now known as the
Yeah,
Philippines on my maternal side. And then my
that's right.
dad, I have West African ancestry, but also British Isles ancestry. And part of
Fascinating.
my it is fascinating, and my ancestral healing journey, a big part of it, I would say the first big chunk of it was releasing all of the internalized anti-blackness that I had inherited, honestly, from both sides of my family. Even though my dad self-identifies as Black, growing up in the Jim Crow era, internalized a lot of self-hate and anti-Blackness. And then my mom growing up in the Philippines, which was colonized by the Spanish for 400 years and then afterwards colonized by the Americans, she grew up with colonial mentality. And one of the tenets, unspoken, this is all unconscious, was
Of
white,
course.
white is right.
Absolutely.
Anything American is better than anything Filipino, and also anything indigenous is primitive and uncivilized. I feel you on that piece. And
Yes.
yes, there is sacred rage that has come from me that still lives in me too, and, I'm so glad that we're talking, and I'm so glad that we know each other, and this
Me
is
too,
so
Heather.
cool to hear more of your story. So,
Yeah.
what I wanna ask you now is, how did you get to this place of mentoring Black and brown femmes? You're
Yeah.
doing a lot of different things. Tell me a little bit about your journey getting here.
Yeah. Wow, so much to say, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you if I had to, Heather, if I had to, my purpose in mentoring and consulting and holding space for Black and Indigenous women of color, if that was going to be my next role, which I've been doing now for 9 years, then I absolutely had to confront the brutality of my existence and how I've been navigating or disappearing into the background, silencing my own ancestral truth and intelligence, also admitting to where I have been perpetrated anti-Blackness and looking at that brutally. It's hard to look at, Heather. Who wants to talk
Yes.
about that shit, you know? But I
Nobody.
knew I had to look at it if I were going to step into that role. So it's been equal parts beautiful and brutal. There has been enormous grief in uncovering these erasures, the violence, and the losses, and admitting to myself where I have been wrong and how I can do better. But to be honest, that's the brutal part, right, Heather? On the flip side, there's also been enormous joy in finding true, honest to God relationships, relational ways of relating to one another from Black communities and Indigenous communities, and also joy in finding songs and foods and rituals that my spirit already knew.
Right.
My journey has been a huge part of it has been about reclamation. Not only for myself, but also for my ancestors who didn't have the safety to claim their time and their truth. And also the space I'm holding for other Black and Indigenous women of color who are doing their own reclaiming. But every ceremony, Heather, every cohort, every circle, every story shared feels like stitching another thread back into the fabric of my own lineage. So,
Yeah.
as much as you give me credit for holding space for these other extraordinary women, unbeknownst to them, they've also been holding space for me to weave this message back into myself. So, whoopsies. I'm not going to apologize for my tears,
No apologies needed.
but as you can see, we're still working through some shit, right?
Yes, yes. No, thank you.
Constantly.
Thank you for being real and raw and honest. And I feel like that is the ancestral healing journey. There are lots of ups and downs, and it's very confronting. And what
Yeah.
I've learned as
Very
I've been walking this path, that not everybody is going to do this work, and you can't drag people to this. It's a calling because you need to
hard.
have that fire within you. Like, I'm the cycle breaker to
Correct.
sustain you, and that's why I've
Yes,
incorporated
ma'am.
pleasure into my work too, because I feel like pleasure does sustain you on your ancestral healing journey, because there is pain, it is confronting, there is grief, there is sadness, and it's so important for us to pour back into ourselves, right? To love ourselves, fill our own cups, and this makes me think of the The first conversation that you and I had, I don't know, a few months ago when we booked this, I was telling you that I've retired from arguing with people online about politics and trauma and race,
So freeing. So freeing.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
tell me more about your journey around how you interact with folks.
That has changed enormously too, Heather, like you. I was just done. I was like, I'm not arguing with people anymore on the internet. That's time and energy I don't get paid for
Mhm.
or compensated for. And it's so derailing and depleting. Going back to what you said around, cycle breaking, I'd rather put that energy towards the pattern breaking that I'm doing, and focusing on myself, breaking the patterns of silence and breaking the idea that we must continue to assimilate, that we must shrink ourselves to be safe. And I wanted to also break the idea that somehow I was being vocal and verbal just by arguing with people on the internet. That's not it at all, girl. Like, Sonali, no, this is not how we're going to break our silence. I've also noticed that I'm breaking cycles of scarcity, of believing that we don't deserve abundance and rest and joy. My God, the rest piece, Heather, has been huge in the last couple of years. Maybe a part of it also is because I'm now in menopause, and being in my 50s has been deeply instructional and sacred. How the body instructs me to go slower. No, no, even slower, Sonali, a little bit more slower. That where this is not a race, I have nothing and no one to catch up to. And that the challenges is that these patterns are deeply embedded, not just in me, but in the world around me too, Heather. And the challenge is holding both the love for my people and the rage for what has been stolen and co-opted without letting that consume me. And that's what was sucking the joy out of me, because I was doing so much cycle breaking or so-called healing. And is the rage alchemizing though? So I really want to sit back and give off a laugh and be like, oh my God, Sonali, this is not so serious. Don't let it consume you so much. So learning to frolic and waste time at the park. And, I just got back from Ireland, Heather, and I was just frolicking. I can't remember the last time I fucking frolicked. Remember we used to do that as kids? Or
Yes.
rolling down a hill or not even looking at my phone. Who cares what's happening on my phone? And no one died. Just because I didn't respond to a fucking email, no one died, Heather. And just having more fun and luxuriating with my time. Laying in a bed with cotton sheets and a goose down comforter and just being like, no, I'm going to lay here a little longer. So that's how I've been reclaiming my time, if so-called time, is by wasting it a little bit more, if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense, and I'm so glad that you are resting, luxuriating. I think that is so important because we can't do the work that we're meant to do in the world if we're in the hospital with adrenal failure. You know what I mean? That's what I think a lot of us are learning, right? We can't
Yes.
give our joy and our peace away to, people, and we can't even see their faces, and especially online, just not the it's not a sacred space. It's not a container that has integrity for the kind of work that you and I do. You have a very powerful energetic transmission, and I just feel like all of us have to be really discerning and choosing about
Yes.
what we let in and what we give our time and energy to, because our presence is a gift. Our energy is a gift. Your soul
Yes.
essence is a gift. So, yeah, I totally resonate with everything that you're saying. And I'm so glad that you went to Ireland and got this chance to frolic and just be in this beautiful region of the world. I mean, I've never been
Yes.
there, but from all the pictures and videos that I've seen, I mean, it's just mesmerizingly gorgeous.
Breathtaking beyond words. There is a beautiful energy there. The air was thick with stillness.
Mm.
I was in the countryside on the Atlantic Way, right? Hugging the Atlantic Ocean. And, I'm from, like I said, Sri Lanka. We're surrounded by the Indian Ocean. The Indian Ocean is ferocious and raging. So is the Pacific. I'm 10 minutes from Laguna Beach and I go down there as much as I can. And even the Pacific is constantly roaring, but the Atlantic was soft and quiet and mesmerizingly silent and inviting. And I soaked in that as much as I could, Heather. Because as you and I both know, living on this land, on U.S. soil, can suck a lot of gentle energy out of you and make you want to have to fight the system constantly. And we need more reminders and more inner ecology to rest and give ourselves more ease and grace. So that's what I want to reclaim more of, Heather. Cycles of joy and laughter. Girl, I want to belly laugh more. Being an immigrant here and even shedding that immigrant mindset, that survival mindset, and having to constantly work hard and then your reward will be waiting for you at the end. Fuck that shit. I want my reward now. And my reward is rest and joy and laughter and luxuriating in naps and by the beach, cycles of belonging where we're no longer negotiating our worth in a system that was never built for us, Heather. So my prayer is that the generations after me inherit not just my struggles, but my celebrations, my laughter, my luxuriance, my ease, and my joy.
Love it. You're speaking my language.
Good.
What we're doing in my monthly membership, the Ancestral Healing Collective, part of what we're doing is repatterning our relationship with pleasure. It's not something that we need permission from our fathers for or our spouses. It's not something that we need to put off after we've graduated from college or gotten our master's degree or when we pay off all of our credit cards. It's our power,
Yes.
and it is the fuel that sustains us for sure. So I love everything that you're laying down. Like, we're on the same wavelength. And I'm so happy to hear that this is what you're focusing on and that these are the patterns that you're starting, the cycles that you're starting, because we need it. We need as many people as possible reclaiming their
Amen,
time,
sister.
you know?
Amen,
Yeah.
sister. I need to be in your group because
Yeah.
this medicine didn't come from book I read or certification or credential. It came from having to listen deeply to my ancestral truth, from sitting with enormous grief, from gathering in BIPOC communities, in spaces where our voices and our bodies could just exhale without having to teach, without having to be instructional, without having to educate others how not to oppress us, you know? And over time, I realized that my offerings weren't just about creating something new. It was about remembering what was already there.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, I don't have to accumulate all this knowledge, a wealth of knowledge, and read textbooks and get certified in this and that. And I just had to be honest about what was already there and just create a portal where others can remember it too.
I love it.
That's the medicine I want to revel in.
Please keep on doing it. I love it. Well, I think this is a good time to segue into the astrology part of our conversation because I'm looking at your chart right now. And according to the birth time that you gave me, which is 6 p.m. ish, right? Because it's a little fuzzy.
Little fuzzy. Yes, my mom can't remember. She had 5 daughters.
Oh my
I was the
gosh.
first, so
Wow.
she can't recall exactly the time, but around 6.
Wow. You're the oldest daughter. That's like a thing in itself. That's
Yeah?
a journey in itself. Well, so, okay.
God, yes.
So the reason we're even bringing up astrology is that it's, part of my membership. It's part of my ancestral healing practice. And the way I relate to it is that it's not the rule, but it is a very powerful tool insofar as it's a language and a framework for understanding
Yes.
yourself
I
and
believe
also
that.
empowering yourself as an energetic being, especially on an ancestral healing journey. And the ancestral wounds, the gifts, past lives, all of it is in the chart. So thank you for allowing me to look at your chart. This is a very intimate thing. And the reason why I felt like, okay, let's talk about this now is because your rising sign, according to this time that you gave me, is Virgo. Okay. Your sun is
Interesting.
Aries, your moon is in Capricorn, and your rising sign is Virgo. So the rising sign depends on your time of birth. That's why we ask. And the rising sign shifts throughout the day. So that's why we need that time. And the rising sign is the vehicle for your divine mission. It's your perception of reality. It's the lens you see everything through. And it's
Yes.
also what people pick up on when they first meet you. And
What's
because
so my rising sign is Aries, you said,
your
correct?
rising sign is Virgo.
Oh, Virgo. Okay, interesting because my son is a Virgo.
Okay. All right. Nice. So,
Interesting.
okay. That is interesting. So, Virgo is mutable earth, and earth is what we use to build the structures that give us stability and security in our lives. And it's mutable. So, that means it's changeable, it's adaptable, it's flexible. And I would say that Virgo is the most intellectual of all the earth signs. And if I compare it to Gemini, which is mutable air, Virgo's different because Gemini wants to consume all the information. They're going to read all the books, all the articles, they're going to watch all the videos, all the memes. And Virgo is all about refinement. Give me the most
Mm.
important information. I don't want all the information. I want the most important stuff. And so
Got
it's
it.
this energy of practicality and precision and organizations. The high expression of Virgo is the woman who is complete unto herself and doesn't need to seek wisdom externally. She goes within for wisdom. So I feel like you definitely embody this. Each sign is a spectrum of psycho spiritual energy with a high expression and a low expression. And so the low expression of Virgo is overthinking and perfectionism and anxiety. And so
Wow.
I want to hear from you. Does this resonate at all? And if so, what's your journey been like with this Virgo energy? I'm so curious.
Wow. Those have been some very strong themes in my life, you know? That's so interesting you mentioned Virgo so much, so distinctly, Heather, because I've always been more attracted and connected to my sun sign, which is Aries,
Mhm.
because it roots me and it feels very expansive too. And honestly, Heather, I understand that I embody many paradoxes, this is all a paradox to me, because my sun keeps me anchored in my truth. And I feel like the moon reveals the depth of my inner waters. And my rising is like the mask I've had to wear, I guess,
Mhm.
in a world that doesn't always know how to take me or see me. So I've always been fascinated by the ancestral map because
Mhm.
I feel genuinely, and you're welcome to tap in here, but I kind of feel like the stars are my ancestors navigating the universe,
Mhm.
and the same stars are guiding me now. I really do feel that. I mean, I see it. I can't explain it, but I've seen that in my life. I've seen how the stars have navigated my next move or what I'm experiencing in the moment. I see it all the time, Heather. It's wild and I can't explain it, but I feel like I don't need to explain it to you. I think you get it.
Do get it. And your sun, like you said, is 0 degrees Aries. So that's an initiation point. That's a 0 point. That is like
What
an
does that mean?
initiation into Aries energy, which is leadership, pioneering, entrepreneurship, taking risks. I also have a sun
Wow.
in Aries because I'm 2 degrees Aries. So we relate, we can connect in that way. But definitely Aries is fearless and it's cardinal fire. Fire is our passion, our intuition, that creative spark, it's intuition. And the high expression of Aries is, like I said, the leader, the fearless pioneer. And the low expression of Aries, because it's the first sign of the zodiac, it's like the baby, it's the
Yes.
child, it can be impulsive and
Yes.
childish, right? There's nothing
Yes.
wrong with being childlike, but unhealed Aries can be very self absorbed, very self
Yes.
focused. But healed Aries, empowered Aries is this beautiful, generous leader who empowers others. And I feel like you are shining. The sun is where you shine. It's the special sauce that you mix into everything you do. And you're definitely doing that and have been doing that for a very, very long time. Now, how does this resonate
Wow.
for you?
Wow, that resonates deeply. It resonates deeply because I've seen the arc of the journey of this Aries sign where I was more childish and throwing tantrums
Yeah,
and you know.
I feel you. I've been there. I've definitely been there. The moon is interesting too. So the moon's your emotions. It's your emotional core, your emotional inheritance, including ancestral wounds, but also the gifts your ancestors have given you. And your moon is in the sign of Capricorn, which is cardinal earth, which means it's the initiating thrust, just like your Aries sun is cardinal fire. It's that initiating thrust of fire. This is very powerful earth. And Capricorn, though it's associated with the worker bee, the high achiever, it's a feminine sign and it
Okay.
has an emotional side. And so I associate Capricorn not only with the worker bee, but with that mountain goat that climbs the highest heights. But it's a mountain goat from the waist up and it's a fish from the waist down. So
Wow.
folks with the moon in Capricorn, what I've noticed is that they have to actually schedule in time to take care of themselves, to
Mm,
be with trusted friends that you can talk your emotions out with them because you are prone to burnout because Capricorn can work. I mean, that is their thing. They can complete tasks and complete projects probably better than anybody. You love working, but you will work yourself into the hospital if you don't take time to luxuriate, to frolic, to go to the spa, to go to Laguna Beach. You know what I'm saying? So, your work ethic is a gift from your ancestors, but also the burning out also is a wound from ancestors. Now, does any of this resonate for you?
no, nothing. Not at all. I mean, not even gosh, it's just spot on as you always are. And, it's very affirming, because sometimes we can spiral a little bit.
Yeah.
I should speak for myself. I can spiral a little bit, or being too self-critical about why am I this way,
Hmm.
Like, Sonali, stop it. Why are you being so self-critical about why you are the way you are? And then you will offer this grounding. It's so grounding what you just said. Huh?
You're a Virgo. The
Oh,
self
okay.
criticism, that is a Virgo thing. We are overly critical sometimes,
Yeah.
but you're also a healer, And so with that Virgo rising, it's really important for you to not get so focused in on the details that you lose the beauty of the whole picture.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
very important for
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Heather, thank you. That's just, you made my day.
Girl, I'm going to make it even better right now because I want to share your galactic placements with you. Okay. So,
Okay.
galactic astrology expands on natal astrology insofar as it's looking at how fixed stars and supercosmic points and just other star systems aspect your natal planets. And so, we're really looking at your highest soul mission because
Wow.
you've had lives. I mean, I haven't taken a super deep dive into your chart because I have to like open the soul records, but just looking at it, you have soul connections with multiple star systems. So you are multi galactic. And we've had lives on Earth, but we've had lives off planet too. And your
Mhm.
soul is millions of years old. And so your chart shows that your mission is not just personal, but it's planetary and it's ancestral. So your soul has aligned with multiple supragalactic points, like the supergalactic center, the galactic center, and the great attractor. And these are black holes, basically. Some of them don't even act like black holes, but they're so enormous and they attract things to them to the point where you are a portal for other people. And I think you've already spoken to that. You are a soul who has volunteered to help usher in a new era on Earth, especially during these times of collective breakdown and awakening. So the thing that really stood out to me was your Pluto. So Pluto is the destroyer. It is the planet of deep transformation. So it like knocks everything down to build something new. And it's a generational planet. My Pluto is in Libra. Your Pluto is in the sign of Virgo, which is the same as your rising sign. And so what this says to me is that you are bringing transformative energy to practical improvements or service. So you are an agent
Mm,
of change. You're teaching others to find empowerment through inner alignment with source. Okay. So this is very spiritual. So the supergalactic center is said to be the source of the mighty cosmic power that moves the galaxies around its core. So it's the center of the galactic center, and it's estimated to possess the mass of 3 billion solar masses. So 3 billion suns. This is
my
what
God.
your Pluto is conjunct. Okay? And
Okay.
so, in a nutshell, the supergalactic center possesses this insanely potent drawing power. It's irresistible with its gravity. And so,
Okay.
with that in your chart in Virgo, because it has a big orb, it actually, some people with placements in Libra, they will be conjunct the supergalactic center too, because it's that powerful 3 billion suns.
My
You have this insatiable need to refine things, to make things better. You wanna
God. Oh my God.
improve, and it's, like, out of your control. It's just this thing that's in you, and so one of the things you have to learn along your journey is that you can't fix everything. You have to go within and do
Wait a minute.
work.
Really? What? For real? Oh my
Yeah,
God. That's so wild that you say all this to me because spot on, girl. It's spot on.
yeah,
It's frightening.
you have a multidimensional role as a truth teller, a system disruptor, and a healing guide. And you may have been feeling this from a very, very young age, that you were
Yes.
different and that the
Yes.
systems around you didn't make sense, and that you were here to say something that hadn't been spoken before. And so you carry the voice of the silenced, the sacred rage of the colonized, the tenderness of those forgotten. And your chart really just shows that you are here not only to speak the truth, but to help others reclaim their own, because you've walked through shadow, but you weren't consumed by it. You're not being consumed by it. You're transmuting it into to power and clarity. So there's a deep legacy of pain that you're here to transform, not just for yourself, but for your lineage and for those who've lost their voice in oppressive systems. And there's a lot of Orion energy in your chart, by the way. I'd have to go in deeper, but just like looking at it, a lot of your planets have an aspect to the Orion star system. And part of the trauma of those souls that lived in that star system is that there were polarity wars. There was a war between just the worst expressions of masculine and the worst expressions of feminine. And so, how they were able to come together and resolve those wars was the freedom fighters realized we cannot fight fire with fire. Like,
Mm,
create more fear and hate is not gonna do it. We have to evolve spiritually, and that is how they were able to resolve and heal. And so
Yes.
that trauma still lives in folks who have that lineage, and I think the echoes of those traumatic events are still playing out on Earth. But I
Yes.
see that all over your chart. So you definitely
Wow.
have connections to the Orion star system.
I have chills listening to you. I can listen all day.
I know, I'll have to give you a full reading at some point, but
Like a full reading, Heather.
well, this is scratching the surface. There's so much here, but yeah, I mean, tell me, how is this all landing for you?
I mean, you're it's so reaffirming, right? Of the choices I've made, of the way I've responded to the universe and to God and to, my divine source and why it is that I'm pouring into the multiple containers that I am and how I'm showing up in the world. That I'm not crazy, even though there are people around me that go, "Oh my God, what is she doing now?" You know,
Those people.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
my God, there's a whole cosmic thing happening here that
Yes.
you may not always feel and see, but it exists. That there's this constant inner knowing or gnawing at the soul that I've got you. Oh, this is another affirmation from the universe that just keep going, Sonali.
Yes.
Just keep going. Just keep trusting and just keep believing in your place in this world. And you just don't have to be extra and you are enough, is the message I'm getting from you. Damn it. I didn't expect to get so emotional on this call with you, Heather, but here we are.
This is beautiful. Thank you for letting me look at your chart, and it's such an honor to have you on the show, but to know you, it fills my heart with so much joy to see you, feel you receive this information. Yeah,
The
it's
joy and
awesome.
gratitude is mine fully. Thank you, Heather.
You're so welcome. Well, I would love to shift the conversation now to your current projects, the things that you're working on now when you're not luxuriating and frolicking, because that's very important. Tell me about your new creative projects. What's giving you,
Yeah.
all the feels? What are you excited about?
There's so much joy in it, Heather, So much joy in just doing what I love. I'm pouring into a couple things right now, Heather. Several things. I'm still continuing to work with revolutionary women and femmes who want to share their story in an embodied way, whether that's on the TED stage, giving TED Talks or keynotes or starting their own projects, helping women, giving them narrative building frameworks and helping them with media training and storytelling. Then I'm also, Heather, launching a new product line called Roots and Reclaim, which carries the medicine of my land and lineage, Sri Lanka. They're botanicals and oils that come from my land. And the
Eh,
reclaim part of it is that I'm reclaiming my inheritance of loss and I'm helping us reclaim our resources from the white man who has gone and extracted and pillaged and stolen our natural resources and turned around and repackaged and resold it to the highest bidder. So Roots and Reclaim is launching soon. That's a line of healing oils from my land, Sri Lanka. I've curated a beautiful retreat called, again, Roots and Reclaim, a retreat to Sri Lanka, which is an offering of deep remembrance and collective healing for people and my ongoing work of creating spaces for BIPOC communities to breathe deeper, to dream, to decolonize and recolonize together. I'm working on futures where we're not fragmented but whole. So those are the things I'm working on, and I'm excited, and they're just it speaks directly to what the reading you just gave me. It makes so much sense as to why like, I get it. But the road has been long and challenging and difficult because, as you and I both know, BIPOC projects and endeavors are severely underfunded
yes.
and under-resourced
Yes.
and undervalued. So I'm doing enormous work to be seen and heard and respected. Like, put some respect on our name.
Mhm.
Here's why you should invest in our work and our vision and our values. So I'm working hard to get the capital that I need right now to launch Roots and Reclaim the product line into the world. But boy, I've been marinating and ideating and visioning for years, and we're almost ready to launch, like this close. So I'm excited, Heather.
I'm excited for you. This is so awesome. The retreat's going to be amazing. I cannot wait to try one of these oils that you're creating. I love it.
All good things.
This is all very magical. I like this a lot. My
Thank you for
goodness.
saying that. Thank you for blessing me with your words and blessing my venture with your words.
No problem. My pleasure. Anytime you need a blessing, you can hit me up. I'm happy to do it. Well, Sonali, if folks want to find out more, where should they go to learn more about your work, how they can
Yeah.
work with you? Yeah, tell us.
Definitely. Thank you for asking. You can find me on Instagram at Sonali Fiske. I have a link tree up there. You can connect with me in different ways there. You can go to my website at sonalifisk.com. That's sonalifisk.com. You could also email me at sonali@sonalifisk.com. I love meeting new people and supporting new visions and new ideas and help with your narrative or your story. So please do reach out. I'd be most happy. It would be an honor to hold space for you.
I love it. You are amazing. You are such a powerhouse. I have one last question for you, and I know you've spoken to it throughout this conversation, but if you had to put a fine point on it, what are the new cycles that you are starting in your lineages?
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. I know I've talked about the reclamation piece, these cycles of reclaiming my inheritance of loss, reclaiming my time, reclaiming my rest and luxuriance and joy. I'm also reclaiming where our stories and um projects and ideas are no longer whispered but spoken loudly. I'm the cycles of joy where my descendants again inherit laughter instead of just survival, you know, cycles of belonging where we no longer negotiate our worth in a system that's designed to extract, that my worth is not tied to capital. My prayer, Heather, is that the generation after generation to come after me no longer inherit my struggles, but inherit my celebrations and my reclamations and the beauty of what I left behind. So onward and upward with that.
Yes, onward and upward. Amazing. Sis, you are fantastic. You are just a multi galactic powerhouse. And again, I've said it a bunch of times. I'm so honored to know you. Thank you so much for being on the show and for being in dialogue with me. And I really hope that we can see each other in person sometime soon. That would be just fantastic.
I pray for that day, and it shouldn't take long. You're really literally up the freeway from me, so it's going to happen soon, okay?
Yes, I love it. All right.
Thank you,
Well,
Heather.
thank
It's
you.
been a joy.
This has been you are a joy. Thank you. All right, everyone, we will see you next time on the Cycle Starters podcast. Take care. Bye, Sonali. Bye,
Bye-bye,
everybody.
Heather.